We have created a fourth branch of government, the administrative branch, and right now that is all the left controls. They don't have the House, they don't have the Supreme Court, they don't have Congress. So all they have is this administrative branch, and that is what they are clinging to. But I defy anyone to tell me identifying waste, fraud, abuse, duplication, how is that a bad thing?
How is that a bad thing? Well, Democrats love waste, fraud, and abuse. They're the WFA party. They should have a rap band called WFA, Waste, Fraud, and Abuse. The Democrats love waste, fraud, and abuse. They gave $600 million before walking out the door, Joe Biden did, to radical left-wing anti-Semite groups under the guise of environmentalism, environmental justice. In this hour, I'm going to try to pack in as much as I can President Trump's interview last night, sitting down with Elon Musk and Sean Hannity on the Fox News Channel. Great stuff. And a Trump White House official sitting down with a CNN anchor and giving her a little bit of what for, schooling her. She probably remembered that interview when she went home at the end of the day. I've got that for you coming up. And today, once again, hump day and the waking up in a pool of her own dried vomit. Clinton household, Hillary and Bill Clinton, not good people. They became very, very wealthy, too. I did a little more research on Chuck Schumer's net worth. He claims it's only $2.5 million, low price of $2.5 million. That's what he says in his financial disclosures. But we know that he's the lizard king, so you can't believe a thing that he says about anything. Now, with that said, hump day in the Clinton household, that means it's mailbag day here at the Chris Plant Show. And here in the studio, I have in my hand the mailbag questions for the day. And I got to say, I had to do research on the first one because I said, I hadn't even noticed that. But our listeners are very smart people like you. And now the mailbag questions. Here is a question from Scott Davis. Scott Davis asks, how come, in the dead of winter, Sheryl Crow's Tesla is being driven away with the leaves just starting to change color? Even her posts are lies. And I said, I hadn't noticed that. Michael Piercy and I, we went to Al Gore's Amazing Internet, which you can look at anywhere, thanks to the patriarchy. You're welcome. And sure enough, there's Sheryl Crow. And I made fun of this the other day because Sheryl Crow said she got rid of her Tesla because hate is their only value. It's not a family value. It's a Democrat value. That and waste, fraud, and abuse. The kleptocracy is being protected by the dementocracy. That's, the Joe Biden's political party, the Democrat Party. They're all demented. But Sheryl Crow, I talked about this the other day. She had a Tesla because she was, posturing and virtue signaling that she got it's an electric car. She's slowing the rise of the oceans. And it's, $100,000 or whatever it is. Very expensive car. And Sheryl Crow, she's rich because of this terrible, awful, unfair, sexist, misogynist culture that she grew up in. And she sings, all I want to do is have some fun. I got a feeling I'm not the only one. Is that the song? Is that those lyrics? And check with Jasmine on this. And so she said, she announced, I sold my Tesla because I hate Donald Trump. And I hate Elon Musk because they used to love Elon Musk. She bought the Elon Musk car, is one of the great innovators of our time, of our era. And she bought the car because it was fashionable and expensive and fancy and pretentious. And she could be self-righteous and preen and posture and virtue signal. And then we told you the story the other day. She announced, I've sold my Tesla because I hate, and I'm giving the money to NPR because they're funded by the taxpayers, and she wants to give more money to because they need to hire sushi chefs and things to feed their many employees because they've got a 3-hour radio show with a staff of 33. We have a 3-hour radio show with a staff of 3 on a good day. On a good day. Now, here's the thing. Scott Davis noticed something that I hadn't noticed. Sheryl Crow's, then she posted a video of her standing in the road and waving goodbye to her Tesla, which is on the back of a flatbed tow truck, as it drives away from her tree-lined neighborhood with high fences. Not that you want those at our southern border, but a high metal fence, like a no-climb fence around private property where rich people live, because that's where naturally Sheryl Crow would live. She's rich and oppressed. Very wealthy and oppressed. But she posted a video of herself, and Scott Davis noticed, wait a minute, it looks like it's not February. I like to say February because that's the way it's spelled. It's not February where she is. It's clear that the leaves are still falling off the trees. And where does she live? Around Nashville, allegedly. And so why are the leaves still orange and yellow and falling off the trees in February, where Sheryl Crow is giving away or selling or whatever her Tesla automobile? That's great. And I said, Scott Davis, we looked at the video. I said, Scott Davis, that's a great question. How do you explain that? And he says, even her posts are lies. And Scott Davis is right. Sheryl Crow is a liar and a fraud and a charlatan, and she posted a video that is deceptive as hell. So then the headline is, Sheryl Crow fires back at MAGA's, quote, fraud, end quote, allegations over Tesla donation video. Made a self-righteous video and posted it, not realizing that everybody is smarter than she is. Sheryl Crow wants you to believe that she sat on a now viral Tesla donation video for 3 months before unleashing it on social media. Saturday morning, after reading Zach Dean's post where he walked through Sheryl Crow and how Sheryl Crow was a virtue signaling spree. And I was suspicious, he says. I couldn't get past the fact that Sheryl Crow's Tesla video was shot in the fall with leaves changing, right? Then on Monday afternoon, reached out to Sheryl Crow's publicist, and who never responded, of course, to my questions. And get a load of this explanation from Sheryl Crow on the timing of the video. And this article points out, Sheryl Crow posted another video, right, explaining her first video, because somebody noticed that this video she shot that showed her just the other day getting rid of her Tesla and donating the money to National Panhandler Radio, taxpayer-funded propaganda for the Democrat Party, for the left. They hate the Jews. And here's what Sheryl Crow posted.
Wow, I didn't know my post was going to blow up the way that it did. Thank you for people that were loving, for you guys that were on the hate side of things.
Now, I just wanted to pause right there, because on the hate side of things, you got rid of your automobile because of your hate, okay? I don't know if they use the words, but they don't know what they mean. They don't understand what they mean. It's your hatred that led to your getting rid of the Tesla and posting the video that you shot months ago. I guess you got rid of the car months ago, even though you just posturing and posing the other day claimed that you just got rid of your Tesla, and you posted an idiot video of yourself waving goodbye to the car while the leaves are changing behind you, clearly a different season than we're in now. And you say, to those that are on the hate side of things, you are the one on the hate side of things. It was your hatred for Donald Trump, and then that extends now to Elon Musk, one of the planet's great people, because you hate so much, you had to get rid of your car and then claim that you gave the money to NPR. She continued with her fatuous fraud.
Yeah, there were some leaves on the tree because, yes, I did donate my Tesla right after the election. But this is the week that I got the confirmation back that the money went to NPR, which is something that I care about.
Yeah.
Everybody can donate a car to something that they care about. For me, it was important because I understood that NPR would be going away. And that is where I get my news, as well as PBS.
NPR would be going away. She understood everything she knows is wrong. She gets her news from MSDNC. Defunding NPR doesn't mean that NPR goes away, but it should be defunded because it's a propaganda outlet. It is the most elaborate propaganda apparatus the world has ever seen, NPR is, and PBS for that matter. And by the way, if you want to donate your car to NPR, you can donate your car to NPR. You don't have to sell it. They'll come get it. They'll pick it up. I know this because a 90-something-year-old woman in my building asked me for help. She wanted to donate her car. She decided to stop driving, and she wanted my help and my best girl's help donating her car, and she wanted to donate it to NPR, and I wouldn't agree with that, but she's a 90-something-year-old woman, and so I helped her, and NPR screwed it up, and they said, we'll be there Wednesday between 1 and 3, and I was there, and they didn't show up, and called NPR, and they're like, that's next week, so they're just tricking a 90-something-year-old woman. But they'll take your car. They'll take anything you give them. They'll take your children. They'll take your house. They'll take your lake house, your boat. They'll take anything you have. It's a shakedown operation. It's more money laundering. But you don't have to sell it and then wait for confirmation that they got your money. What country are you living in, you dimwit? So she made up a lie, and our first mailbag question caught her, Scott Davis. Just great stuff. Wonderful. So thank you, Scott. Yeah, she was caught. She's nailed. Big lie. And then she lied about it after she got caught because she's a liberal. What more do you need to know?
I used to be adored by the left,
Yeah, not anymore.
Less so these days.
Killed that.
Elon Musk, I used to be adored by the left, and they all bought your car. Now they're selling them. They should be Well, one did self-immolate he rented it, though. He didn't buy it. One Democrat killed himself in a Tesla in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, a non-news story, because the extremists all voted for Trump, not the suicidal death bomb people. Honestly. Barry Tolbert, next mailbag question. Hey, Christopher, he says, if Elon Musk was to cure cancer, do you think liberals would scream? Elon Musk is putting oncologists, oncology nurses, and radiology techs out of work. They definitely remember when Joe Biden was going to have the cancer moonshot and he was going to cure cancer. He didn't lift a finger. He didn't do a thing. It was all a huge lie. He's a psychopath, honestly. I'd rather have corn pop in the White House than Joe Biden. Yes, Barry, I do. And then secondly, they'd scream, women and minorities hit hardest because he cured cancer. And it's true. And the oncology nurses would skew female and or minority, and liberals would be very upset about that. Barry, you're on to them. You've got their number. You've cracked the code. It's exactly what they do. Frank the Lib, he called in. Well, he calls in from time to time. He's in the Chicago area, Frank the Lib, and he sent a number of questions because you just can't shut a lib up. So he's got question after question, and said, since he took office, what has Drumpf, D-R-U-M-P-F, so he's a hater, done that has benefited you? Well, the United States government is now investigating waste, fraud, and abuse of my money and yours, Frank. We now have a government that's on our side and not on the side of Iran and Hamas and Mexican cartels, but on the side of the United States of America. And how many more murders do you want? Honestly, Frank, we had a mother of 5 murdered in Maryland while she was jogging by an illegal alien gang member that you Democrats waved into the country because you love murder and mayhem. Rachel Morin was murdered not far from this radio station by an illegal alien. Laken Riley was murdered by an illegal alien in Georgia, a nursing student, a college student. So how's it benefited me? I don't want to live in a country where murder by illegal aliens is as commonplace as you would like, Frank. And And which Biden policy affected you? Well, the Biden policies that affected the Rachel Morin family and the Laken Riley family, those affected me too. I don't like crime in the same way that Democrats like crime. I don't like murder. I don't like sexual assault. I don't like widowers who have 5 children at home as much as you like, Frank. I like the energy in the United States to be cheap and abundant because that's good for everyone. I like a secure border because that's good for everyone. You see that Green Berets have now been dispatched to Mexico, working with Mexican military to train them up to fight the cartels that are responsible for tens of thousands of drug overdoses in the United States every year, Frank. Wah, wah, wah. Which Biden policy affected me? The weakness of the United States of America led to war in Europe, which President Trump is now working to bring to an end. Led to war in the Middle East. But I know, Frank, you guys are out there terrorizing Orthodox Jews in New York, terrorizing a Jewish family in Brentwood, Los Angeles, California. I don't like terrorism, Frank. I like the United States of America. I also like the truth. And I would like our government agencies to be responsible with our tax dollars. And I don't want to see them giving $600 million to create a slush fund for radical left-wing so-called nonprofit groups that are funneling the money to Hamas, which is a genocidal, racist death cult. So those are just a couple of thoughts off the top of my head, Frank. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. All right, let's go. I've got amazing stuff coming up. President Trump and Elon Musk and CNN and a couple of amazing CNN moments. Not on purpose, of course, but... All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Mark, calling from the land of Lincoln, from Illinois. Mark, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Morning, Chris. How you doing?
Very well, Mark.
Instead of calling it land of Lincoln, you call it land of leaving.
The land of leaving. Save you a lot of money and be safer if you get out.
So anyway, I heard somebody call in probably about half hour ago when I was coming home from work, and you guys were talking about the senators and congressmen have been in office for quite a long time.
Yeah,
and they've made a lot of money.
Yeah.
So why can't how they've been clamoring about President Trump's tax returns?
Yeah.
Why aren't we able to see theirs?
Well, you remember we played some of this yesterday or the day before when Rachel Maddow went on television and bragged about getting Trump's tax returns illegally leaked to her by somebody presumably at the IRS, and she's waving around the tax returns of Donald Trump. Felonies were committed there, getting Rachel Maddow Trump's tax returns, right? And nobody was held accountable.
You may have heard, we've got some significant breaking news tonight. Donald Trump's tax returns.
Yes. And, Mark, that was a felony.
Yeah, I agree. And why wasn't she held accountable?
Well, because Washington is a very corrupt city. Democrats are very corrupt. Now, one of President Trump's White House staffers, Stephen Miller, who is very bright, very sharp, intelligent, well-informed. He's articulate, too, which is racist to say. But Stephen Miller went on CNN for some reason and had a little bit of back and forth with one of their anchor bunnies, Brianna Keister. And Brianna Keister was going after oh, gosh, we've got to keep government big. Government must grow. We need more government employees. We need more money laundering by the Democrat Party to fake environmental groups that are really funding Hamas, like the Alliance, a Climate Justice Alliance. Here's $600 million for our friends in the fake environmental movement. They've got to buy lake houses and boats because the Democrat Party's stealing our money all over the place and spreading it out to their friends, their political allies. And government must always grow. Now, at the same time, I talked about it yesterday, CNN announced that they were cutting staff about a month ago. NBC News announced they were cutting staff about a month ago. The Washington Post announced they were cutting staff about a month ago. Mark Zuckerberg announced he was cutting 4% of his workforce at his giant mega corporation, which has a population larger than Burkina Faso. Greater number of people, I think. And Zuckerberg said that he's cutting 4% of the inefficient people working. He had 4% inefficient people. And the most inefficient people are being let go by Zuckerberg at his mega corp called Meta, right? And that's fine. Those are not news stories. But if you cut 400 employees from the FAA, then the Democrats try to blame you for a plane crash in Canada where a plane flipped over because the FAA has nothing to do with Canada. The federal in FAA is the federal government of the United States, not Canada. They don't have statehood yet. But the Democrats become outraged and honestly cutting 400 people from they've got 45,000 employees at the FAA. You cut 400 employees. That is fewer than 0.1% of the employees there. All right? 0.1%. And that's just based on 40,000 people cutting 400. That's 0.1%. So it's actually fewer than 0.1% because they have 45,000 employees there. And how dare you cut anybody from the government roles? And that is the role of CNN and Brianna Keister at CNN interviewing Stephen Miller, sharp, bright, articulate.
I would say that it's pretty standard when you're downsizing government. You make cuts, you assess those cuts, you see who needs to be rehired, who needs to be kept, who needs to be
That's not what happened here, though, Stephen. You know that. They were rescinded. These aren't normal things. These were terminations that were rescinded.
I understand that even a temporary interruption in federal employment is a great crisis and catastrophe for you and for CNN. What the American people see is a government that is finally delivering a promise of accountability under President Trump.
Do you know the word rescinded? I don't know that word. I'm going to look up rescinded. Do you think she had intended or attempted to say rescinded? Is that what she was looking for? Reversed, struck down? What is that? What is that? No, you know. Well, you're downsizing government. You know, Bill Clinton and Al Gore downsized government by more than 400,000 employees. 400,000 government employees by Bill Clinton, and the media applauded, and then they had sex with Bill Clinton, and they released Al Gore's chakra. They couldn't wait. Everywhere Al Gore goes, he wants his chakra released, and the news media, they helped him release his chakra again and again. Stephen Miller was having none of this, and he did it very pleasantly. He was very courteous with a smile on his face. And Brianna Keister, you heard her interrupt him, just jump in the middle of a sentence, which they never, ever do to a filthy, rotten, stinking Democrat who's laundering our money and funneling it to their pals, their friends and family. But she jumped right in and just started talking over him and used a word, rescinded, which nobody knows, but it continued.
You want to have a conversation about transparency. Let me ask you a question. Do you have any idea where the $22 billion that the Department of Health and Human Services provided to illegal aliens under Joe Biden is right now? $22 billion with the B. That's enough to provide a free house to every homeless veteran in America. Where's the $22 billion? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. Joe Biden just spent it, and now it's gone. Transparency begins with having an accounting of where every federal dollar is spent. And God bless President Trump for leading this effort.
$22 billion. Hey, how about we build homes for every homeless veteran? You served in the military, now you're on hard times, you're on the street, you're homeless, you're in a shelter. $22 billion, which is real American money. Just amazing. And he stuck that in her face, and she didn't know what to say or where to go. Amazing stuff. Now, Stephen Miller was he was on a tear.
You may assert there's no waste in the Pentagon. You may assert there's no waste in
Stephen,
Treasury.
I'm not
you may assert there's no waste in HHS.
That, Stephen, I don't think anyone.
Then why are you not celebrating these cuts? If you agree there is waste, if you agree there is abuse, if you agree there is corruption, why are you not celebrating the cuts, the reforms that are being instituted? Every day that no action is taken, the entire
Stephen,
salaries of American workers that are taxed disappear forever.
Stephen, let's calm down.
Stephen, let's calm down. No, how about you stop interrupting me and start speaking in truths and in reality, Stephen Miller.
We are saving Americans billions of dollars, that we are ending the theft and waste and grift and corruption, that we are stopping American taxpayer dollars from subsidizing a rogue federal bureaucracy that has been relentlessly weaponized against the American people.
Okay,
you
Stephen,
may not care about
I'm
this
not
issue.
Talking about
your colleagues may not care about this issue. But we care about this issue. The American people care about this issue.
They also care about privacy.
And the
Listen to
American
this.
public overwhelmingly supports what President Trump is doing.
Propaganda, just pure Democrat Party propaganda. It's not an interview. It's not a conversation. It's propaganda.
You mentioned yesterday illegal immigrants who are getting child tax credits. Are you looking for that information in the IRS data?
Anytime a crime is committed, of course there should be an investigation. Is it your position that if somebody who is
Stephen,
here
are you looking for that
is
information
stealing
in the
taxpayer
IRS
dollars,
data?
the federal government will find every illegal alien who is stealing American taxpayer dollars. And that is what Americans expect to happen. I don't even fathom the premise of your question.
She's trying to prevent the government from looking at IRS data. It's the federal government, which owns the IRS, runs the IRS, which the Democrats under Barack Obama and Joe Biden abused the IRS to target their political enemies of the Democrat Party, Tea Party groups and patriot groups. They have no patriot groups on the Democrat side. And the IRS was required after legal action to pay millions of dollars to the Tea Party groups because they were viciously, politically, criminally targeted by the Democrat Party to sideline them so the Democrats could steal more seats in Congress by sidelining these patriot groups and so on. Brianna Keister.
Surely your position is not that we should let illegal aliens steal taxpayer dollars.
Sure it is.
Again, you want to talk about something to be upset about, that's it. What do you think? The millions of illegal aliens who've also stolen Social Security. Illegal aliens in mass have fake Social Security numbers. They have fake identities. Those are felonies. Why should there be an entire class in this country that is immunized from criminal prosecution and arrest for committing felonies?
Imagine that. Now, the news media, she sat there very calmly too. No, we don't want to look at government waste fraud. This is the role of the fourth estate, of the news media. Supposed to be holding government feet to the fire, not just attacking Republicans and sleeping with Democrats, which is what the American news media does. Now, this morning, amazingly, Democrat radical extremist Congressman Ted Lieu from California was on CNN, and the anchor woman was Pamela Brown, and we were shocked by this, Michael and I, that Pamela Brown asked a question about all the money being wasted. They must have been shamed and disgraced by Stephen Miller into asking this question.
We have confirmed some of the cuts the Doge team has been making, and they do include things like gender-affirming health care in Guatemala, teaching people in Kazakhstan to fight back against internet trolls, voluntary male circumcisions in Mozambique, creating work opportunities for young LGBTQI plus people in Serbia. Are these things that you think taxpayer money from the U.S. taxpayer money should be spent on? And how do you think taxpayers knew their money was going to these causes?
Circumcision.
So happy to have a discussion on the funding of USAID and what some of these programs are going to. But what the administration cannot do is randomly freeze the funding to all these programs that Congress has already appropriated.
Congress has appropriated money for male circumcision in Mozambique. Not female circumcision, which they do here in the United States now. Genital mutilation, child genital mutilation. The Democrat Party, so good for Pamela Brown. Oh, CNN, we have confirmed some of these, like, gender affirming whatever in wherever. What and why is it always genital related with the Democrat Party? Everywhere in the world, all these billions of dollars, it's always related to somebody's genitals. You people need help, and I'm not willing to pay for it. Honestly. Now, last night you may have seen some of this, but let's go to soundbite number one. Elon Musk sat down with Sean Hannity and President Trump. There was a lot of Elon Musk. There was a lot of back and forth, really. But Sean Hannity talking to, at the same time, President Trump and Elon Musk, who were seated side by side, and Musk is wearing a T-shirt and a black jacket and some jeans, President Trump in his usual suit. And it was really a lot of fun, and these guys obviously really like each other. Elon Musk.
When these attacks occur, the thing that they're accusing the administration of is what they are guilty of. They're saying that things are being done unconstitutional, but what they are doing is unconstitutional. They are guilty of the crime of which they accuse us.
That's always the first thing they do.
Yeah.
He's in violation of the Constitution. They don't even know what they're talking. Well,
it's absurd.
Know. It's just a con job. It's a big con job.
They are guilty. Elon Musk said, whatever they accuse you of, it's what they're guilty of, which reminded us of the left-wing radical Democrat career politician Victoria Nuland.
It is classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
That's exactly, and that's what Elon Musk spotted. They just accused us of doing exactly what they're doing. And Victoria Nuland, the Democrat, Obama administration, Clinton administration, I think she was in the Biden administration, too. They always come back for more, then they go off and make billions. Victoria Nuland, classic Russian technique, Soviet technique to accuse you of doing what they know they are doing because it blows up the debate about what they're doing when you call them on it. Oh, we've already accused you of that. And then it's a stupid, running around the maypole. President Trump on the phony, baloney news media.
They're so bad for the country, so dangerous and so bad. And the media is so bad. When I watch MSNBC, which I don't watch much, but you have to watch the enemy on occasion, the level of arrogance and cheating, and they're just horrible people. These are lie. Horrible people.
They tell conspiracy theories.
And they start up with the Constitution. They couldn't care less about the Constitution. CNN, likewise.
That's a fact. Oh, we got a word that had to destroy the Constitution in order to save it. Had to destroy democracy in order to save it. Had to destroy the United States of America in order to save it. The left lies about everything, and Elon Musk has noticed it too.
I guess we must be over the target or doing something right. If they wouldn't be complaining so much if we weren't doing something useful, I think. But what all we're really trying to do here is restore the will of the people through the president. And what we're finding is that there's an unelected bureaucracy. Speaking of unelected, there's a vast federal bureaucracy that is implacably opposed to the president and the cabinet.
It's one of the things we're learning, and we knew this, the deep state, the permanent bureaucracy. I've called it the permanent bureaucracy forever and ever. And this is coming to light now. I've lived in Washington a long time. I've covered these departments and agencies, 10 years at the Pentagon. The permanent bureaucracy is, and Musk sums it up beautifully. We're not living in a democracy. We're living in a bureaucracy. Elon Musk.
I think the average taxpaying American should be mad as hell because their tax money is being poorly spent.
I'm sure you love that taxpayer money was spent on a DEI musical in Ireland, or a transgender opera in Colombia, or a transgender comic book.
It sounds like how can these things be real? But this is actually what was done. It sounds like a comedy sketch.
I have 20 pages of this.
Right. It's not. It's a list a mile long.
And then they talked about how the news media is trying to drive a wedge between them because the news media is a corrupt political operation.
Now I see they want you two to start. They want a divorce. They want you two to start hating each other. And they try. Oh, President Elon Musk, for example. You do know that they're doing that to you.
Oh, I see it all the time. They tried it, then they stopped. That wasn't. They have many different things of hatred. Actually, Elon called me. He said, they're trying to drive us apart. I said, absolutely. They said, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And I say, It's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it, because if they were good at it, I'd never be president.
That's a fact, Jack. I It was great stuff. I got to say, Trump was great. Elon Musk was great. And they obviously really like each other and get along. The most powerful man in the world sitting next to the richest man in the world who has his own space program and a top secret security clearance. Another lie the Democrats spread from Congress to the media. But what's the difference? They're Democrats. These are interesting times. There's nothing more important than what is true. The truth is the most important thing in the world. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother getting to the Donald Trump talking about Ukraine and how it should have stopped before it started the war. Because the news media is taking a fraction of a sentence and attacking Trump over it. Because it's what they do. They're untrustworthy. Commies. All right, let's grab a phone call, Mike. Let's go to Ken calling from the great state of Florida. Oh, I apologize. It's Kent. Kent, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Hey, buddy, I'm great.
I got to tell you, before I get to my point, I've heard people call and say that you're like the best show on the radio and the closest thing to replacement for Rush Limbaugh. And I'm kind of mad that I didn't get to say that first. But anyway, I called to ask a couple questions and to make a comment. And the comment is the plane that landed in Canada and flipped. I noticed that I just thought of this morning that once the right wing was gone, then everything turned upside down.
Yeah.
So there's a kind of a political analogy, except with an actual plane.
Yeah, I like it.
With an actual plane that it has to have both wings. With a political plane, it would be better without the left wing.
That's good. I'm afraid the clock is running on you, so you should be quick.
All right. Michael Flynn, has he been pardoned? And the Marine Colonel Stewart, I think, that complained against the withdrawal from Afghanistan, has he been reinstated?
Very good questions. I do not. Well, let me see. Trump pardons Michael Flynn, extending case. I'm not sure if General Michael Flynn, who's a great American. But I did just find, since you asked, a headline from November saying Trump pardons Michael Flynn, but I don't know if he could do that in November.